What's going on, guys? EGM coming at you with a brand new video, and today I'm going to be bringing you my predictions for the Ultimate Fighter Redemption season finale. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now real quick before we get into the main event, I want to give you guys my predictions for the entire card. So first up, we have the two fights on the early prelims on UFC Fight Pass. We got Tisha Torres versus Juliana Lima. I have Tisha Torres winning that fight by unanimous decision. And we also have Gray Maynard versus Teruto Ishihara. I actually have Ishihara winning that fight. Gray Maynard is 1-5 in his last 6 fights. He's on a downhill slide. And I have Ishihara knocking out Gray Maynard in the first round. Next up, we have the prelims on Fox Sports 1. We got Jessica Eye versus Aspen Ladd. I have Jessica Eye winning that fight. We also have Ed Herman versus CB Dalloway. I see CB Dalloway coming out with a narrow decision victory. We also have a fight between James Krause and Tom Galicchio, two semifinalists from this past season of The Ultimate Fighter. I have James Krause coming away with the unanimous decision victory. Now for the last fight on the prelims, we have Angela Hill versus Ashley Yoder. Angela Hill currently has a record of 1-3 in the UFC. She fought 3 times in 2014 and 2015, where she went 1-2. She left for Invicta. She made her return earlier this year against Jessica Andrade. Jessica Andrade was just way too strong for her and fought at a way faster pace than she did and came away with the unanimous decision victory. So currently Angela Hill is 1-3 in the UFC. She's looking for her first win since her UFC debut back in 2014, and I think she's going to get it. She's a very exciting on the feet. She's an excellent striker, and I do see her coming away with the TKO in the second round. Now we move on to the main card, also on Fox Sports 1. The first fight we have is between undefeated Jordan Johnson and Marcio Fortuna, a light heavyweight fight. Now, Marcio Fortuna actually made his UFC debut in heavyweight. He took a short notice fight against Anthony Hamilton, where he was actually outweighed by about 50 pounds, and Marcio Fortuna just landed a clean punch and knocked out Anthony Hamilton, which is funny because Marcio Fortuna is not really known for his knockout power, neither is Jordan Johnson. They're more known for their submission skills, and I see Jordan Johnson coming away with the submission victory. Next up, we have Brad Tavares versus Elias Theodorou. I have Brad Tavares winning that fight. Jared Cannonier versus Nick Rourke. I have Jared Cannonier knocking him out in the first round. Jared Cannonier is actually coming off a loss to Glover Teixeira, so I'm going to be looking for him to kind of come out and kind of redeem himself and get himself back in the win column, and I think he'll do just that. Now we move on to two of the top lightweight prospects between Drakkar Klose and Mark Giacchese. Now this is going to make for a really exciting fight. Both are very, very good strikers. Mark Giacchese is 3-0 in the UFC. Drakkar Klose won his UFC debut against Devin Powell, and both are looking to make a name for themselves and continue their climb in the lightweight division. Now, Mark Giacchese is an extremely high-level striker, and many view him as a potential champion. Now, both these guys are going to look for the finish. They're going to come out swinging, but I do think that Mark Giacchese is going to get the better of the exchanges and ultimately finish Drakkar Klose in the second round via knockout. Next, we have the Ultimate Fighter Season 25 finale fight to determine who's going to get the contract in the UFC between Diego Lima and Jesse Taylor. Now, this is an interesting fight. Both fighters were in very interesting situations in their respective seasons, which Jesse Taylor was in the 7th season of The Ultimate Fighter, and he was actually in the final before he got drunk in Vegas. There was some recordings of him kicking out windows in limousines and just condoning himself in a very unprofessional manner. Now, he was eventually kicked off the show and lost his spot in the final. But now he has an opportunity to redeem himself. Now, on the other hand, we have Diego Lima, who was also a finalist on The Ultimate Fighter in Season 19. Now, in the finale, he was actually knocked out in the first round by Eddie Gordon. Now, this season was called Redemption because they brought previous competitors from different seasons to come back and try to win another opportunity to fight in the UFC, and Diego Lima and Jesse Taylor have just that, an opportunity. Now, Jesse Taylor is one of the strongest guys in that house. He's a very strong wrestler, a former Division I All-American, and I think he's just going to be too strong for Diego Lima. He's going to take him down, he's going to beat him up, he's going to impose his will, and I see Jesse Taylor coming away with the unanimous decision victory. Now we move on to the main event of the evening, the long-awaited match between Justin Gaethje and Michael Johnson. Now, Justin Gaethje is interesting because this is his UFC debut. He's one of the more hyped-up prospects. There was a lot of talk surrounding him and potentially being in the UFC because he was 17-0 and just a very exciting fighter to watch. Now, the UFC finally was able to reach an agreement in terms of a contract, and he's making his UFC debut against the 5th-ranked lightweight in the world, Michael Johnson. Now, when someone makes their UFC debut, it's usually against another prospect or a washed-up veteran. Now, for Justin Gaethje, because of the hype surrounding him and because Justin Gaethje came in calling out, the top contenders in that lightweight division. They gave him Michael Johnson. Now that's very dangerous because Justin Gaethje is very sloppy. Now he likes to put on a show. He likes to stand in front of your face. He likes to put crazy amounts of pressure. As soon as the bell rings and the fight starts, he's in your face and he's trying to impose his will. He's trying to break you down. Now that's not a good idea when it comes to somebody like Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson has some of the fastest hands in that division. He's a great boxer. And we all saw what happened when Dustin Poirier tried to get in a boxing match with him. Michael Johnson absolutely destroyed him with a beautiful right-hand counterpunch. Now that was Michael Johnson's last victory. His last fight against Khabib Nurmagomedov in November of 2016, he was absolutely dominated. We all know Khabib's wrestling. It was too much for Michael Johnson. He eventually finished him by submission in the 3rd round. But this is a fight that Michael Johnson can definitely have some success in on the feet if Justin Gaethje comes out and fights the way we all expect him to, with that brawler style. Now, if Justin Gaethje wants to win this fight, he's going to have to utilize his leg kicks. He has excellent, powerful leg kicks, and he's going to have to use his wrestling. He's a former Division I All-American wrestler, and he's going to have to get Michael Johnson on the mat and beat him up and hold him down. Now, if Michael Johnson is going to have success, it will be if Justin Gaethje comes in and decides to stand in front of Michael Johnson. Now, Justin Gaethje is not going to be able to take a punch from Michael Johnson. We've seen that he has a good chin. We've seen that he's been in wars, but that's against lesser competition. Never has he stepped in the octagon with a guy of Michael Johnson's caliber. So I think that Michael Johnson is going to come in. He's going to tag him a few times in the 1st round. Justin Gaethje is going to go back to his corner at the end of the 1st round with a confused look on his face. He's going to come back in the 2nd round, and Michael Johnson is going to put him away. Now, if you like these predictions, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos. Thanks, guys.